So I was thinking recently, if I lived in a place that did like furry conventions, I would totally make my own fursona and get a fursuit. Totally unrelated, but I've been getting a lot of furry content on my Twitter timeline recently. You know, I can't quite figure out why. But one post in particular piqued my interest. A furry who was scolded by the company they bought their fursuit from because they took photos of themselves in a pool. And reading further into it, it turns out that this company has some crazy strict rules about what buyers can and can't do in their fursuits, even threatening to take the rights to the character away if they don't obey the terms of service. But why? Why was this company trying to control what the buyers did with their goods after they purchased them? I proceeded to go down the rabbit hole of just how odd this company and their policies were, and today I want to share it with you. Let's talk about K-line fursuits and their very strange business practices. Before we get into things, I just want to give a huge thank you to Warm People for sponsoring this video. Warm People is a gothic sanctuary of plushes, pins, shirts, and beautiful woven blankets, all with a ghoulish and spooky theme. And this video couldn't be timed better because with Halloween right around the corner, Warm People's home decor, apparel, and accessories are the perfect way to bring those dark and spooky vibes this season. They sent me 2 plushes, Arson, this incredible DeviantArt OC cat with a real spiked collar which is super cool, and Soot, a spooky little mushroom who was gifted a fat dumpy by the witches of the woods. Proof shown here. I also got this absolutely sick pin and this beautiful keychain. It's really quite large honestly, and it's so intricate, so detailed. I love these silver outlines, it's so shiny and nice. And last but certainly not least, I got 2 incredible woven blankets. Eternal Bloom is this beautiful floral print with red flowers, Venus flytraps, and lots of cute and creepy insects. I love the spiderweb border on this one. I also got Brimstone, which is my favorite because it's a terrifying hellstorm and a scary 3-headed Cerberus. What else could you want? 2 of their most popular woven designs, Brimstone and Rat King, are now available at Zoomies with limited stock, so check them out at select Zoomies stores or their online store. Head to warmpeople.co/Izzy for 15% off your entire order or use code Izzy at checkout. Warm People are so amazing, so cool. I've worked with them before. They're one of my favorite sponsors. They're a joy to work with, great people, and honestly just go support a small business who is incredibly talented at what they do. Thank you so much to Warm People for sponsoring this video, and now for the spooky season, let's talk about the scariest thing of all, furry drama. Now before we get into things, I just want to quickly mention, please don't go after anyone mentioned in this video. This isn't a call out or, you know, something to draw attention to. This is just a niche internet rabbit hole that I thought was interesting that I want to share with you guys. I also don't want to get the customers of K-Line in trouble with the company, so I'll be censoring all the names and keeping people anonymous as much as possible. You know, it shouldn't need to be that deep, but as you'll find out, this company is kind of a lot. Anyway, the tweet that first drew my attention to this fursuit drama had a caption that read, "I will not accept different rules specific to me. If other suits can be on the water, so can I." The post contained a photo of the OP and their fursuit submerged in a pool, as well as a screenshot of an email they received from the K-Line fursuit company. The email read, quote, "Thank you for your understanding and sharing how you've taken great care of insert fursuit's name here. It's clear how much you value the fursuit and I truly appreciate the effort you've put into maintaining it in good condition. Regarding your question, I want to clarify that the issue isn't about how much of the suit is submerged, but the fact that it was submerged at all. Allowing any part of the fursuit to be submerged, especially in an uncontrolled environment, poses a risk of damage and sets a dangerous precedent for others to follow. Our concern is not about the degree of immersion, but the overall risk it represents to both the suit and those who may attempt to imitate these actions. We've seen similar issues arise in other cases, such as with Aosa. However, Aosa took the initiative to explain the risks involved with water exposure, ensured the safety of the shoot, and communicated how future issues would be avoided, which is why we allowed the images to be reposted under those specific conditions. Please understand that the context is different in each case, and I hope this clears up any confusion. Thank you again for your commitment to keeping insert fursuit's name here in excellent condition. I appreciate your understanding and helping us maintain the integrity and safety of the fursuit community." To clear up any confusion, Aosa is another K-Line fursuit owner who also did a photo shoot where they were submerged in water, see here, and honestly these are super cool photos. However, as mentioned, they discussed this with the company beforehand. This raises the question, Why would you need permission from the person who made your fursuit to go in the water, or permission to do anything for that matter? Sure, most makers want their fursuits to go to good homes and be well looked after, but it's a transaction like any other, and once the buyer has bought the fursuit, it's kind of out of the maker's hands at that point, or, you know, out of their paws. But that's what sets K-Line apart from most other makers. When you buy a suit from them, you don't really own it. For those unfamiliar with the process of buying a fursuit, it's generally pretty simple. You find a company or individual maker whose work you like, give them a reference of your chosen character design and your measurements, decide on all the small details like fabric and fur colors and whether you want magnetic eyelids or vents or fans inside the suit, and then you wait for your fursuit to be finished, which can take several months to a year since the creation process understandably takes a while. You have the option to get a full fursuit, which includes a head, body, and paws, but you can also opt for a partial fursuit, which is just a head and hands. Most furries commission fursuits of their original characters or fursonas, but many makers also offer pre-made fursuits. This is usually a slightly cheaper option than getting a unique fursuit commissioned, especially if your character is complex, and you can usually get it straight away rather than waiting months for a brand new fursuit to be made from the ground up. Usually when a pre-made fursuit is sold, the rights to the design and the character are also given to the buyer so they can make their own character or fursona out of them and get art commissioned. At the end of the day, fursuits are just a way for furries to express themselves with a character and persona that is unique to them. But what if you spent thousands of dollars on a fursuit that wasn't unique and special to you, but instead basically owned by someone else? Well, this is the business model that K-Line operates on. K-Line Fursuits, short for kimono line fursuits, kimono being a Japanese term used to describe furries or those fond of anthropomorphic characters, was founded in 2014 out of Japan, and over the years gained a reputation for their unique and high quality fursuits. They started out making custom fursuits based on their clients' OCs and designs, but then eventually shifted to what they're most known for today, limited quantity batches of pre-made designs. Their website states that they're able to create custom characters, mascots, suits, and statues for clients, but this seems to be more for businesses and events rather than individuals looking for custom fursuits. So, customers looking to buy a K-Line fursuit must pick from the available pre-made designs listed on the website. In a section titled Showroom, we can see all of the designs currently available. The art is beautiful and stylish, and the designs are fun and unique. I love this melon-themed armadillo and this cookie dog, and all of the other designs have really nice color palettes and patterns. The fursuits range from around $3,000 to $8,000 USD, which is expensive but pretty standard for well-made full fursuits like these. Most of the designs use the same basic wolf or cat template with differences only in color, but their more intricate showcase designs feature heavily themed designs with unique details and motifs, often based on food and drinks. Interestingly, these showcase designs come in pairs, with both characters being identical but inverted and available to buy by either one person or two people who want to match. They call these twins and state that two people buying twins must have a good relationship with each other and be able to communicate before they agree to buy the fursuits. This is an interesting system, and one that I've never heard of any other fursuit maker doing. Honestly, I'd be so curious if anyone watching this has had like a matching fursuit or like a twin situation, and how exactly that actually works. Please chime in below, I'd be really curious. But that is far from the only strange thing on K-Line's website, because we haven't even touched on their terms of service yet. And you'll soon understand why I fell down this rabbit hole in the first place and why I'm so interested in this niche fursuit company, because once you read their terms of service, you'll realize that they are still extremely controlling over their fursuits even once they've sold them. Here are just a few choice passages from their terms of service page. The reason for establishing these terms is to obtain consent for the furry suits to be used in various media as K-Line works even after they are sold, and to prevent accidents and damage caused by users' unexpected handling of the characters, as well as damage to K-Line's image due to these influences. Please read the details below carefully and consider purchasing only if you agree. Activities premised on commercial use, as well as income generating activities that require filling tax returns, fall within the scope of commercial use, and K-Line will not approve these actions. You can apply to purchase the full rights to the character to use for commercial purposes, however K-Line requires a specific explanation for the reason for purchase and supporting documentation. The TOS also states, if you use a character for commercial purposes without permission, all profits earned during such use will be confiscated and you will be immediately deprived of of the right to use the character. It's never explained exactly how they would go about confiscating these profits, but I have to assume it would be some sort of legal action. Characters may not be used in connection with criminal activities, religion, or antisocial expressions. Use for acts or purposes that are contrary to public order and morals, or for the purpose of self-deprecation or expressions that defame third parties is prohibited. Any act that goes against public order and morals, especially adult expressions, is not permitted. Changes to the character's name, pattern, color, silhouette, or other design modifications are prohibited. Combinations of different materials, costumes, and characters are prohibited. All commissioned items as well as costumes that are not the correct combination of the character, such as rubber suits, pet suits, and part exchanges between characters, are prohibited. Any actions that significantly damage the impression of the character are prohibited. For any commissions that require the production of 3D models, figures, stuffed toys, or costumes using the character designs, the request and client information must be communicated to K-Line, and the production request to these companies and corporation is prohibited. This essentially means that you have to ask K-Line's permission before getting any merch made of your character, or rather their character. Please refrain from purchasing if you are involved in criminal, religious, antisocial, or adult content posted in public, such as on social media. Resale, including auction and transfer of fursuits, are prohibited. This one is crazy to me because they're basically expecting you to own the fursuit forever. Like, according to these terms of service, you can't resell or even just give your fursuit to like a friend for free. Their TOS clarifies that if you're giving up your suit for unavoidable reasons, you need to let K-Line know so they can give the rights to the new owner, so it is possible, but they really drag their feet about it. Using characters to act as a VTuber is prohibited. Creating a different character from the original character or continuing to use a similar character is prohibited. K-Line makes it very clear that their characters are designed to be fursuits and not 3D models, thus their ban on VTubers. However, they do permit the creation of 3D avatars for VR chat and Second Life, even though Second Life is like, I feel like pretty irrelevant these days. Anyway, that's a whole other tangent. They say that they allow these creation of 3D avatars for VR chat and Second Life due to what they call the quote-unquote current situation. The current situation, I guess, just being that online spaces are popular with furries. God forbid that someone want to enjoy their design outside of the scope of wearing a fursuit. Plus, conventions and meetups are few and far between, whereas online spaces and VR chat are always there and thus more popular. They clarify that suit owners must get permission for a 3D model, and they reserve the right to stop owners from using these models if they don't meet K-Line standards. Please adhere to the above terms and conditions, and if any violations are found, correct them immediately. If you witness any violations, contact K-Line immediately with evidence. So yeah, when you buy a K-Line fursuit, you don't actually own the design. In fact, the company claims staunch ownership over all of their designs to the point where they monitor their buyers' social media to make sure that they aren't damaging the brand. They even encourage K-Line fursuiters to snitch on each other if they take any photos or make any posts that break the terms of service, which is kind of crazy and definitely not a good way to form a positive community around your brand. The basic idea around K-Line is that they are specifically designed to be pieces of art and character expression in the form of fursuits. When you pay to wear one of their fursuits, you're basically paying to wear a bespoke piece of art that represents their brand. This is why they're so vehemently against making any modifications to the character or suit, because then you're contributing your own art to their art piece, which blurs the line between whose artistic expression is whose. One K-Line fursuiter posted a photo of herself wearing a latex outfit with the fursuit head on top, which caused K-Line to publicly tweet at her to take down the photo. They then deleted the tweet after getting backlash, sent her an email threatening to revoke the character rights and resell another fursuit of the character before eventually blocking her, all over a single photo posted to Twitter. One Twitter user compared owning a K-Line suit to being an employee mascot, and honestly, they're not wrong. When you buy a K-Line fursuit, you're essentially paying to roleplay as one of their OCs with a strict set of guidelines to ensure that you're playing your character correctly and not damaging their brand. And if it wasn't clear already, with K-Line, it's all about protecting their brand at the cost of even being extremely controlling towards their client, to the point where they have a reputation within the fandom for being problematic makers. Now, I want to be fair to K-Line here and discuss some of their viewpoints because they have brought up a lot of very valid points. When the drama surrounding the customer wearing a latex outfit and fursuit head arose, the company explained their point of view in a now deleted Twitter thread, quote, "Thanks for all the feedback. One opinion complaint we often hear is that since we paid for it, we should be free to handle it. We agree with this, therefore this is only a request policy, it is not legally binding. However, we are inclined to ask you to keep the form in the management of K-Line's works. If you handle them freely, please understand that those suits will be out of K-Line's jurisdiction. We respect the culture of customizing fursuits, and there was a time when we did commissions. However, since the release of our first character collection, it has been a long-standing question as to whether or not the pieces created by other artists can be considered the work of one individual when they are crossed with parts created by others. We have been working for the creation of characters since the beginning, and we understand that this is incompatible with the original enjoyment of Fursuit, which has no restrictions. Nevertheless, we are always looking for people who love our characters and are willing to work with them even though they have many restrictions. We are grateful to those who have adhered to our terms and conditions. We would like to have more discussions and come up with a positive activity plan. And this thread brings up a good point. Regardless of how strict these terms of service are, they are outlined clearly and buyers have to agree to them before purchasing a fursuit. You could easily argue that since buyers read through these terms of service and agreed to them before buying, K-Line reaching out to them to ask them to take down content shouldn't come as a surprise, and in fact it's what they signed up for. One Twitter user wrote in support of K-Line, quote, "Please do not buy if the terms of service do not work for you. I am shocked by what I am seeing of their ways of communicating, but this is no reason to buy then break the TOS. There are many things they can be blamed for, but breaking their regulations that you've agreed to by buying their product is absolutely not the way." Which I think is a valid point. At the end of the day, K-Line suitors read and agreed to the TOS before they brought their fursuits. But at the same time, for the prices that these buyers are paying, the threats to revoke characters and harassment of multiple clients is just shady and unprofessional, at least in my opinion. I also want to add here that while K-Line shouldn't be controlling over what kind of photo shoots that their clients do, submerging fursuits in water definitely can be extremely dangerous because you're in the suit, it gets extremely heavy in water, and it could be a really dangerous situation where you could potentially drown. I think it's really good, like K-Line said, to have a plan, to organize the safety of the shoot, have people with you to make sure that you have an exit strategy if things go bad, and it's good that they communicated that to K-Line, but also at the same time, even though it is a dangerous activity and definitely should not be encouraged within the furry community, as makers, again, I feel like they shouldn't really be as controlling. I mean, obviously they want people to be safe in their fursuits, but at the end of the day, if someone buys your fursuit and then goes on to do a really unsafe photo shoot or activity, it's out of your hands. I don't think it personally looks bad on the company because I feel like most people have an understanding that that's an individual person who's making their own decisions, and if they're making a silly decision, that's on them, because they're doing it, not the fursuit maker. I don't think it's like an endorsement. I get where K-Line's coming from, and also as a PSA to anyone watching, if you do anything water related with fursuits, please, please, please be careful and do your research. But yeah, that's just my take on it. I wanted to add that there. Let's continue. Additionally, K-Line state that they understand that their guidelines are strict and see K-Line not as a conventional fursuit maker, but instead more of an art project where people can buy into and participate in the art. The About section on their website reads, "From the beginning, our production style has been based on the idea of rediscovering individuality through the appearance of furry creatures. Their non-human appearances transcend the boundaries of race, gender, and body type, and their expressions have amazed and moved people all over the world as they pursue the relationship between humans and furry creatures that enriches communication. The furry suits made with ever-advancing technology and a wide variety of materials will be an option for the next generation of fashion, playing a different role from existing clothing." This shows that they really see K-Line as more of a sort of next generation art project which pushes the boundaries of self-expression and fashion, and the fact that they sell a lot of art books, figurines, and even exhibit at art galleries also backs this up. And honestly, I think that it's a really unique idea and a really interesting business model that could set their brand apart from other makers if done correctly. However, the general consensus from the furry community online is that K-Line is a very desirable brand due to their high quality fursuits and cool designs, but their strict terms of service and reputation for going after clients for minor infractions stops a lot of people from buying them. K-Line stated in their thread that suitors can handle their fursuits freely and that the TOS isn't legally binding and more of just a recommendation, which would be great and I think would be a really good policy, except they still publicly tweet at their clients to take down photos they don't like, threaten to revoke character rights, and even relist characters. At the end of the day, I don't think that K-Line is intentionally trying to be malicious or controlling over their buyers, but from what I have read from people who have posted online, a lot of buyers have had run-ins with K-Line at one point or another and do feel overly monitored by them. I hope that one day, maybe, just maybe, K-Line will loosen up their terms of service even just a tiny bit to allow for a bit more creative expression, as I really think that it would foster a much more positive attitude within their community and encourage more prospective buyers to want to buy their fursuits. If it's a collaborative art project, then K-Line should be doing all that they can to foster a friendly and welcoming relationship with all of their buyers. That way the two can work in harmony to look after the characters and show their self-expression in a way that suits both of them, because that's what fursuiting is all about. You know, at least from what I've heard from other people. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I really hope that you enjoyed that video topic. Sorry this one is a little bit out of left field, but I was just on Twitter and I saw all this stuff and I was like, this is so interesting. Such a strange business model that I've never seen in any other business, let alone like a fursuit maker. And I don't know, there's something about furry drama and I don't know, fursuit drama that just interests me. And I wanted to share it with you guys. Again, please don't like bother any of the companies or people involved. It's really not that serious. I just thought that it was an interesting topic and, you know, hopefully eventually they can evolve their business model to hopefully make a lot more of their clients feel more welcomed and not as, you know, a bit like harassed by them sometimes online. But, you know, it's out of my hands. It's their company, so you know, we shall see what happens. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any topics that you want me to cover in the future, definitely let me know. I hope that you enjoy my bootleg furry look today. This is meant to be like furry on a budget, I guess. I don't know. This is like the only thing I have. There's like furry-esque, so I don't know. This is my attempt. Yeah, sorry it looks like this. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye! A huge thank you to my Garfield overlords over on Patreon: Sophie Jane Dubbery, Eminem, Usurpius, Tonla, Dino Nuggy, Trouser Mouse, Prize from Travelling Tavern, Meridia, Dr. Worm, Vivian Valencia, Bunzo, Jar the Bar, Zoe Mars, Sophie H, Kia J. Parker, Hazy, Jet Secret, Stanley, Blue Mayfeld, Katrina Likes 5e Stuff, Michelle Olsen, Matt LRJ, A Riddle Wrapped in an Enigma Hidden by a Question Mark, Doug, Dana Homegardner, Simon, Xavier Arajo, Say Marie Brayley, Helm Hamburger Hand, Dozo Blint, Sheriff Whiskey, Astrian Vortex, and Jesse Chisholm. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. It means the world. If you want to join these guys over on Patreon, the link will be in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye!